Hey everybody, super excited to see you guys on Thursday here for our outdoor kickoff at 7 p.m. here at the Met in our parking lot, and we've got a lot of exciting things in store. But for this week, I thought we'd continue in our series in the YA Weekly Word by thinking about the word quiet or quietness. And I came across this little thought from the book of Ecclesiastes in chapter 4. In verse 6, where it says, "Better is a handful of quietness, than two hands full of toil and a striving after wind." I think that struck me because we find ourselves in such a loud world. It's such a busy world. I don't know if you guys have ever asked somebody how they're doing. I know I have. How you doing? And people will respond so frequently with, "I'm good, I'm busy." It's almost like there's a justification in our society for busyness as an evaluation for how you're doing. And it says here in the book of Ecclesiastes, in this book of wisdom, that actually it's better to have just one handful of quietness than two hands full of toil. So I wonder if you've given any thought to if there's room in your life for quietness before the Lord. And in addition to the book of Ecclesiastes, I've been spending some time flipping through this little book by Francis Schaeffer called No Little People, and I would commend it to you all. And in the book, he's trying to articulate the fact that there are no little people and there are no little places for those little people to minister. And what he's doing is he's pressing into this parable that Jesus teaches in Luke chapter 14, where Jesus says, if somebody invites you to a wedding, don't go in and take the best seat at the feast. Just don't do it, because lest another guest who has a higher place in society than you comes into the feast, and the groom displaces you from that place of honor and replaces that other person there and puts you in the lowest place of the feast. Jesus says, rather, when you come to a feast, take the lowest seat, and then that the groom might displace you into a higher place of honor. And Schaeffer makes this little insight, and he says there's two reasons why we ought not grasp for higher places in our lives, higher places of ministry significance, higher places of notoriety, more to try to sort of clamor for a bigger following on social media or whatever it might be. And he said the first reason that we should seek the lowest place is because there it's easier to be quiet before the face of the Lord. I didn't say it's easy. In no place, no matter how small or humble, is it to be easy to be quiet before God, but it's certainly easier in some places than in others. And the little places where I can more easily be close to God should be my preference. I'm not saying that's impossible to be quiet before God in a greater place, but God must be allowed to choose when a Christian is ready to be extruded or displaced into such a place. For only He knows when a person will be able to have some quietness before Him in the midst of increased pressure and responsibility. I wonder if there's any room in your life for quietness before God, because better is one handful of quiet and two hands full of toil. And I think the greatest example of this is our Savior Himself, who was an omnipotent God who took on finitude. And if there was ever a one who needed not to be quiet, it was Jesus, the one who came to proclaim the gospel of the kingdom. But we even see Him retreating to receive quietness before the Lord. And not only did He not clamor for a place of higher significance, but He descended to the lowest place, and that is the cross, where He was silent before His accusers. And I pray that you would find, in light of the quietness of our Savior, time in your week to spend time in quiet solitude with God. Grace and peace to you.